Hello, welcome to the show about a guy and his grandfather. I'm Mike. This is Papa. Papa, how you doing today?
All right.
All right. So I wanted to start today with just, you grew up in the North End, obviously, right?
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Even though I don't sound like a North Ender.
I don't think that matters. I know you're a North Ender. What made the North End so unique? What made it so special growing up? Like what made the North End for you?
It was an Italian neighborhood, and almost everybody in the North End was Italian. Occasionally, somebody sneaked in there that was Irish or something like that, but for the most part, when I was growing up, everybody was Italian. Now, the streets were different. Clark Street was Sicilian. Charter Street was Sicilian. Unity Street was also Sicilian. Then you had other people from in different parts of Italy who were all on a different street. I can't decipher them, but
yeah.
Hull Street was a different part of Italy. Sheaf Street was a different part of Italy, and further on down towards the market, the streets would represent different different little countries in Italy. Most of them, I'd say the greatest population. I shouldn't. I really can't say that. I think that it was diverse, but they were set up in different streets. So, as I say, Unity Street was pretty much all Sicilian, and Charter Street the same way. But as you moved around the North End, the streets represented different countries in Italy. Not even necessarily in Sicily. So, yeah, it was. I don't know how it was set up, but that's the way it wound up being set up. That people from certain parts of Italy lived on certain streets, and it's the way it was. Not anymore, but back when I was a kid, they were pretty much, every street had a different dialect.
So was there like anything interesting like growing up about the North End, like just in like daily life that like you don't see nowadays?
People who were calling their children would normally do it by just sticking their head out the window and yelling Johnny or Charlie or that's the way they would call their kids in to come home for supper and that sort of thing. But and there were a lot of roof gardens.
Really? Roof gardens, like on the top of the building?
On the top of the building, where people would hang their clothes up on the roof. There were also a lot of containers full of different fruits and vegetables. And that was pretty common, and all the roofs had their own gardens.
Wow.
And people on different floors of the building would they'll all have a little spot where their garden was up on the roof. You're subject to the wind and rain and all that sort of thing, but it worked, and we had fresh vegetables right off the roof.
So one of the stories that I remember you were telling me as a kid that really stuck with me was about Tony DeMarco, and you walked out with him. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, Tony DeMarco lived on. He lived in the North End. His name was changed.
Yeah.
Because he was too young to be a boxer, and he was probably around 14.
Jeez.
When he started fighting. Anyway, he changed his name to
Tony
DeMarco. And when he did box, he would walk up his street to Hanover Street, walk all the way to St. Stephen's Church, go in, say a prayer, and then walk to the Boston Garden.
Yeah.
And as we grew to know him, he had a bunch of young guys like myself that would follow him.
How old were you when you were following him?
Maybe 12 to
Jeez.
13.
Wow.
Yeah. And then if it was in the evening and he was boxing, he would take us in with him, and we'd get to watch him fight. So he was a really nice guy too. Initially, nobody believed he was a boxer, and we would kind of kid him.
Wasn't he like a short guy too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was wasn't very tall, but he was tough. Yeah, he was tough.
Did you know that he's a world champion?
Yeah.
So like he's.
Oh, we celebrated
Yeah.
it when he beat I forget who it was that he beat for the world championship.
Yeah, because when you told me it
he
for
was
the
the
first time.
welterweight champion of the world. Yeah.
I looked it up when you told me the story for the first time. I was like, Tony DeMarco. So I looked him up. He was the 1955 welterweight world champion.
Yeah.
He's a boxing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And you walked out with him.
Yeah. Yep. You walked down to the Garden with him, and once we got in the Garden, I don't think they were given seats. There probably were, different sections that were. And go in and watch him fight.
You ever visit his statue in the North End? You ever see his statue in the North End?
No.
Well, I was in the North End one time. It was a couple of years ago.
It might have been on Fleet Street. That's where he was from, Fleet Street.
It might have been that. And I see the statue of a boxer. So I look at the name, and it said Tony DeMarco. And I was like, I made the connection right away. I was
Liotta was his...
Liotta.
Liotta.
And I was looking at it, I was like, Tony DeMarco. He was like, you were telling me about that. So I called Dad, and I sent him a picture of the statue. I'm like, small world. So yeah, he has his own statue in the North End.
Yeah. Well, that was a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a welterweight champion of the world.
Nuts.
And he and Carmen Basilio fought several times. Basilio beat him, but he was from New Jersey, I believe. But they killed each other. I mean, they beat each other to death. And then they had a lot of respect for each other as well as the years went by. But Carmen Basilio was from New Jersey, and Tony DeMarco was from Boston's North End. He fought him several times, and he beat a lot of people when he first got into boxing. He beat a lot of big name players until he bet Basilio, who was a great boxer.
For a small guy too, that's...
Yeah. But he was, and just the nicest guy. Yeah. Really a nice guy. Nothing went to his head, and yeah, we had when he won the championship, we had a parade of cars going up and down the street and honking their horns and everything else. Yeah, it was a big deal. and it should have been.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a huge deal.
Yeah. So, world champion. Then he moved. He had a condition of. He moved to the West Coast, not the coast. The hell's the name of this?
Like Midwest?
Yeah, Midwest, but that's a specific
Town?
area,
Yeah.
town, state, and retired there. I forget if he had some children. I lost track of him after a while. But yeah, it was anytime he had a boxing match, he would stop off at the church and go in and say a prayer and then walk to and he'd walk to the guy.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Like Rocky?
yeah, yeah. I think that may part of that film, the Rocky, emanated from
DeMarco?
different
Different yeah.
players, different fighters, and yeah, he.
Are there any other interesting things in the North End when you were growing up?
There was a bunch of guys that were wannabe gangsters that would shoot craps. They would play with dice. They'd shoot dice. And a lot of money would change hands. Yeah, big, and you know, I used to sell them. Actually, I rented them. I had I forget what kind of crates they were, but they were crates that housed fruits and vegetables. But they needed something to sit on, so I would rent them to them.
Huh.
Yeah, for 25 cents.
Wow.
And then when the game was over, I'd take them back, and I'd rent them to them again the next time. Yeah. So I mean, it was like
It's free money.
Yeah. I remember one time, I think it was my birthday, but I said to them that they were on their own. I was not going to be able to bring them their benches, their little crates, and so why? I said, it's my birthday. I'm not going to be here. And they took up a collection and wished me a happy birthday. I mean, they were a bunch of nice guys.
Yeah.
But
when you say like wannabe gangsters, were they like they in
well,
something?
some of them were, yeah.
They in something? Were they trying to be something? Like
No. They were bookies. They were gamblers. And some of them was
like mob?
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew them, most of them. But and I saw them get raided a couple of times. And they would whatever monies that they were playing with.
Yeah.
They would just throw it up in the air, so that the cops would,
They have to pick it up.
They'd stop chasing them and go after the money, right? And they would scatter, and the houses were the stairs went right down to the street, and I watched some of them. They would just run up the stairs and sit down like they were there, and just
hide in plain
chill.
sight?
Yeah, hide in plain sight. So, yeah.
They ever try to get you involved in anything, or did you just
No.
You just sort of stayed in your own lane?
No, no. They may ask you to go to the store for them or something like that, but no, I didn't hang out with them or anything. No. And they were all older guys.
Yeah.
And we were kids. But it was pretty much, I pretty much had command of the Prado when they shot dice and had their, bring out their benches to sit on. And, yeah. And the older people in the North End, there were benches in the Prado. That's where it was, where they shot the dice too. But there were benches that the old timers would sit down and play cards.
Yeah.
And gamble. So, I think I told you about the time that I was invited to go for a ride. And there was probably half a dozen guys, and they were just going for a joyride. And I said, no, I don't think so. I'm not going. And that particular night, they went. I don't know if the car they had was stolen or not, but they stopped and got gas. And there was an incident. I think they robbed the gas station.
Really?
They robbed the gas station, and as they were leaving, one of the kids in the car had a gun and fired at the traffic behind them. And he shot somebody.
Wow.
And they got caught, and they went to prison.
Jeez.
And had I taken that ride, I would have been in that car.
Had you taken that ride, I don't think I would be here right now.
Right, yeah. And they went to prison for like 20 years.
Jeez.
So, yeah. So, no, I didn't take rides with anybody, so. But I don't know, I just knew it was not the right thing to do, take a ride with those guys. And probably 4 out of the 6 weren't bad guys, but they were in the same car, and they got caught, and they went to jail.
Jeez.
And yeah, I knew them. I knew them all. One was a wise guy. And he wasn't the one that fired. It was, as a matter of fact, the kid that fired the shot, at one time I lived in the same building as he did.
Really?
On Henchman Street, when I was just a young kid then. But yeah.
So when you were growing up in the North End, was that around the same time you tried to get into Bruins games? Or was that older?
A little older before I started going to the Bruins games. And by that time, I was in the printing business, and one of the jobs that we had didn't make any sense, but they were like cartoon things, and they were printed, but we didn't know what they were for. But I saved them anyway. We had them in like packets of tickets, and what they were was between periods, people would leave the garden and go out and do something or whatever. But in order to get back in, they were given these pass-outs that we had printed. And they would change them every game.
Yeah.
So that they couldn't use them.
Yeah, you can't go back in now.
And once I got the know-how, I gave them to the bartenders in a bar called the Horse, and after the first period, people would come down, and just to tell the bartender what tickets were being used for the checkout. And that's when we would go. I go into the bar and get maybe 100 tickets or whatever, 25 tickets, and give them out to my friends, and we would all go back in free because you had the checkout. So that went on for quite a while.
Was that the same thing where you'd go all the way up the stairs and yeah?
Yeah. There was like one elevator that probably held about 8 people, all to fill it up,
Yeah.
and they would the high rollers or whatever would go up on the elevator, which I used to use every once in a while too.
Did you ever get caught?
No. And then we had, it was like a 90-foot ladder that went all the way up to the balcony.
Really?
Inside the garden, and we would go up that ladder.
Just like a regular ladder?
No, it wasn't a ladder. It was if you've seen them, they're on the side of buildings. Then they
oh yeah,
yes,
yeah.
So they had this went all the way up to the
top floor.
And we would go up and wait until the game was going on, and then we'd be banging on the door. Then somebody would open the door, and we'd run and let everybody in. So, but yeah, so it was like a freebie.
Did you ever get to bump into any of the players at all, or just?
Yeah, I did. Terry O'Reilly was a sweetheart of a guy, and if he was running to get ready to play, and you call him out, you just say Terry, and he'd stop and talk to you. Yeah, good bunch of guys. And then after the game, they would go to the same bar, and they'd all drink, and we knew where they were going. And I also knew where they had their suits cleaned, and I knew the people that owned the place. So at that time, I printed the first bumper stickers you ever saw for a team.
Really?
Yeah. And I gave them away. But I also I'd take a bunch of them and go to the place where they had their clothes.
You like
clean.
put them in their suits?
Yeah, put them in, stick them in the suits. I didn't put any names, they didn't know who it was, but and then when I went to the Garden,
You were just that much of a fan that you just wanted to give them.
yeah, I gave them away free. I gave them away. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I could have made a lot of money, and I didn't. But yeah, I probably really could have made a lot of money. But yeah, I did the first bumper sticker for the Bruins, and it said, "Puck it to 'em, Bruins."
Wow. Puck it to them. I like that.
I did some for the Red Sox and the Celtics.
Really?
I wasn't a Celtic player fan, But I told you the story about Bill Russell, though, right?
I think so. I think you got to
Yeah.
tell me again.
Well, Bill Russell, on the second floor of the Analex building, which no longer exists, was the Celtics organization. They had the whole second floor.
Yeah.
And the printing company that I worked for was called the House of Offset. And that was on the ground floor of the Analex building. And we didn't have a men's room in the plant, but on the outskirts of the plant, there was a men's room, and you'd go out in the corridor down to the men's room and go to the bathroom. Well, one day I was in the bathroom, and I was seated on a stool, and all of a sudden, this man stuck his head over the top of the door and looked down to see if anybody was in there, and it was me. It was Bill Russell.
Jeez. 11-time world champion just staring you in the face.
Bill Russell. Well, Bill Russell didn't talk to anybody.
No.
But, he was notorious. He was a superstar.
He was a superstar. He was a civil rights legend.
Yeah. But
Just staring you in the face.
yeah. And he scared the shit. Oh boy. I didn't expect that. I mean, the doors. There's like any men's bathroom. There's a door that opens,
Yeah.
and there's maybe a steel piece on top or whatever. Well, he stuck his head over the top and looked down to see if anybody was in there, and there was. It was me.
Did he say anything to you, like sorry or?
Whoa, he said. I said whoa too, but yeah, I mean it was quite a sight to see a big head come over the door. Anyway, so yeah, that's how I met Bill Russell. I don't think he knew who I was, but and he probably never knew who the hell I was. But yeah, I remembered him forever on that one. Anyway, and I worked in the market. That's where I learned how to ride horses.
You learned how to ride horses at the market?
Yeah, well, the market went from Haymarket and all the way down to the fish pier. And it was all push carts and wagons. In the north end was a barn for all those work horses. And they would take the wagons on a Saturday, and I would work on the wagons. But I would also, the horses brought the wagons in, parked the wagons, and we got to
Ride the horses?
drive the
Wow.
horses. Drive the horses back to the barn. And there was a cop that I knew, and he would stop the traffic, and it was like a clear run to Haymarket from the where the horses were. And I would gallop down the street. So that's how I learned how to ride horses, but a big horse.
Really?
My legs were hanging on the side of it, yeah. And I became friendly with some of the horses.
Yeah.
One horse in particular was a bastard. he would bite everybody, and he would kick, and he would. And I said, I'm gonna train this sucker. And it took me a long, long time, but he finally let me in his stall.
Yeah.
And let me pet him. I didn't ride him. I didn't trust him. But he would let me in his stall.
Yeah. It was good enough for you.
And I could pet him. Used to spend a lot of time in that barn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're around horses, and you're in the North End, and you're messing with horses. So.
Thank you all for taking a listen. Let us know down below what your favorite story was. Have a good one. Anything you want to say?
No. Thanks for listening.
Have a good one.
Don't tell everybody now.